Alright, guys. So, that was a mess, and I'm pissed off. Something happened with my connection. You guys didn't hear the beginning, or it was buffering, or some shit. Lost some live viewers. I'm pissed. But it's alright. We're going to make a quick comeback. I'll go through my recap from last week, and then we're going to move right the fuck on. It's late. Everybody's tired. So, let's get through this. Cheers. I do apologize to anybody who experienced those technical difficulties with me. So, quick recap of this past week. Let me just pull it up again. I did take it down. So, in straight picks, we went. I'm not going to go for numbers. I'll just tell you guys the unit profits. So, 4.49 units profit on the Moneyline picks. We cashed Charles Oliveira, Rose missed, Chandler hit, Randy Brown cashed, Danny Roberts missed, Chiasson hit, Schnell missed, Gatto missed, Journey Newson hit. All of my picks are tracked on betmma.tips. You can find my link on my Twitter at CouchWarriorPod. I normally recap more in depth, but honestly, it's all over there for you guys, and I feel like nobody really listens to this part anyway. So, we're going to move right on to the actual breakdowns, and we'll work through this card real quick. So this first fight is really interesting. I see a lot of people hopping on the dog, and I can't blame them, but I'll talk you guys through why I'm leaning the way I am. So for this fight, Nick Maximov versus Andre Petroski. You got Maximov, who's 8-0. He's 6 feet tall, 24 years old. He's got a 76-inch reach. He does train with the Diaz brothers, but he has been currently doing a lot of boxing training. I'm not sure what the gym is, but it seems like he's getting his work in. I know that he was doing the same exact thing before his fight with Punahele Soriano, so he is working on that boxing. Definitely a lot to improve there. We'll talk about his striking defense in a second. It's absolute garbage, even though it is improving, but I do think so. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then on the other side, we got Andre Petroski. He's 7-1-0. He's 30 years old. He's 6 feet tall, 73-inch reach, and he trains out of Renzo Gracie, Philly. So Petroski, he came off the Ultimate Fighter. It's funny because Maximov was actually supposed to be on that season. I guess his manager was like, "Don't do it. We'll get you a contract otherwise." But Petroski was on that season. He did pretty well. Personally, I thought he was going to make it all the way. And then in the semifinals, he fought Brian Battle. And that's the thing I'm going to harp on this whole breakdown for this fight. And something I haven't really heard from anybody else is that Petroski was submitted in front of our own eyes by Brian Battle on the show. He got hit with a ninja choke, right? So what happened was Petroski was taking him down. And then he tired out. Battle took over and subbed him in the second round. We've seen him tire out. I know he got 2 finishes so far in the UFC, both in the third round. So you're gonna say, Mike, what are you talking about? How could that be? Who are his opponents? Michael Gilmore, who we just saw get finished in less than 2 minutes against Brahima, and Gilmore was piecing him up on the feet. All right, so already that's problematic to me. The fact that you're having a close striking battle with Michael Gilmore is a problem. I understand that Maximov's not some beast on the feet, but look, personally, I think their striking is equal, if not a slight lean to Maximov, because I think Petroski's striking is bad too. He's a very classic wrestle boxer. Winging punches, everything is focused on getting that shot. But the thing is, Maximov is the same way. Who wins the wrestling battle here? I think it's clearly Maximov. Look, we've seen him out-wrestle Cody Brundage. That's not a small task. Cody Brundage is also a very high-level wrestler, very credentialed wrestler, very talented guy, who I also think is underrated, but that's a story for another day. Here, though, Maximov beat him over 3 rounds. I believe it was on short notice. Beat him over 3 rounds. Beat him by decision. Was it boring as fuck? Yeah. Was it just wrestle? Fucking yeah. It was. But he got the job done, and he did it dominantly. He's relentless with his takedowns. He got 10 last time out against Soriano, right? Split, close on the feet, but look, he controlled him for... I'll check how much of the fight exactly, but I know that it was a good portion of the fight. Really working on the swear words. I heard that affect the algorithm. So I'm going to try to swear a lot less. It's just very difficult to break habit. All right. I forgot what I wanted to show you guys for a second. I have a bad memory when I'm tired. All right. So Maximov picked up over 8 minutes of control time on Soriano. I understand that Petroski's probably a better wrestler, but so it comes down to two things, right? If Maximov can get him down, which I actually think he will, what happens? Is he going to control him? I think he subs him. I think Maximov does really good work on the ground, and I think that Petroski's going to give him the style he needs to get a submission. If he doesn't, I think he's going to be able to control him either way. If he's not able to control him, I really, really don't think that Petroski takes him down. And if it's the classic case of, two grapplers canceling each other out and they're going to fight on the feet, I lean Maximov. They both kind of stink on the feet. But I'd have to lean Maximov personally. He's got that turtle shell at least. I do really like that. It does leave his body open, but what's Petroski really going to do to his body? Maybe some kicks, right? But nothing that I think is going to finish Maximov or anything like that. In terms of over-unders, fight goes, fight doesn't, I am probably going to play Maximov by sub. I don't think the prop is out yet. At least it wasn't earlier today. I'll check right now. Oh, I think it might be out. Let me pull it up. If it is, I'll hit it after the stream. Nah, it's not available on any book I have yet. But Maximov is sitting at plus 350 by submission, and I'm going to tell you right now that's a poor line on the part of the books. I get why they think it might be a decision, and it very well might be. Two wrestlers canceling each other out, go the distance. I get that angle, but we've seen Petroski worn down before. We saw it on The Ultimate Fighter in front of our own eyes. I think very highly of Brian Battle, but he's not some legend killer just yet. Neither is Maximov, but Maximov is going to provide that same pressure, if not more. He's going to overwhelm Petroski. He's going to make it difficult for the guy to work. And I'm not really sure what Petroski's backup game is when he can't get his wrestling going, so I'm not sure what he's going to do here. Because I'm fairly convicted that Maximov is going to have the better wrestling. So I do think Maximov walks here, honestly. I think the price is steep, for sure, considering, Maximov is fairly green. His striking isn't good. He's very hittable. His striking defense is 39%. It's extremely poor. And he's sitting at minus 375. I can't blame anybody for taking Petroski at plus 310, but I think it's a losing bet. I think that I'm going to be playing plenty of dogs this weekend, just like I did last weekend. I played tons of dogs. But in my opinion, dogs need to have a clear path, or at least one that I can find, and I don't see one here. You can say Petroski maybe wears Maximov down, but what is he going to do to him that hasn't already been tried? Is he going to be a better wrestler than Brundage? I really don't think so. Is he going to be a better striker than Soriano? No, he's not going to be. So what? He's not a better grappler. He's not a better submission grappler. Doesn't carry more power than any of those guys. Definitely not more than Soriano. What is he going to show Maximov that Maximov hasn't already dealt with? I don't think anything. So we'll see. Look, Petroski getting in work with really good guys. If he's actually still at Renzo Gracie, I couldn't confirm it. But if he is, he's training with Sean Brady, with Jeremiah Wells. It's a good camp, good guys to train with. But I just don't think it's going to be enough here. I am on the Maximov side. I do think Maximov wins. I think a submission is very live, and I am going to be playing that for sure. This next one we're going to go through fairly quickly because we've already done it. I did it last week, and if you want a more in-depth one, just hop on last week, but I will still break this down, so don't worry about it. Here we got Carlos Candelario versus Tatsuro Taira. Candelario is 8-1-0, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach, and I don't think that's the right camp. Candelario is training at a New England cartel at least before the last fight was scheduled 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if he's still there. I think he is, but I'm not positive about that. But that is where he was leading up to this fight. On the other side, we got Tatsuro Taira. He is 10-0, 22 years old. He's 5'7" with a 70-inch reach, and he is training out of... I couldn't confirm anything on Instagram, so we're going to go with this Tapology. Taira Akinawa. I need to get better at pronouncing these things. But hey, get out of the garbage. My dog. Get out of there. So, this one is fairly straightforward, right? It's striker versus grappler, yes, but I think there's a little tint to it. So, I get the angle everyone's coming in here with, in that Candelario got taken down plenty between Altamirano and Candido, and he's got his back taken. He's been controlled. I get all of that. Can Taira do that here? Yes, and he probably will in round 1. So maybe it's even a live betting opportunity. I don't often do that, so I'm sticking with my pre-fight bet for now. Maybe I'll look at that once the fight starts, but we're going to have to see. I do think Taira will find success in round 1. I do think he'll get at least 1 or 2 takedowns. I do think he might get the back. I don't think he submits Candelario. Candelario spent 15 minutes in the cage with Candido. Who's Candido? He's Jose Aldo's BJJ coach. You're going to hear this fairly often this week, but it's meaningful. All right? It does mean something to go against a guy like that, get taken down. It's not like he kept it on the feet. He got taken down. Candido got him where he needed to do the work, but couldn't do the work. All right? He couldn't do what he needed to win that fight, and that was submit Candelario. Altamirano, he lost that fight. I know he won it, but he lost that fight if you watched it. Sure, he got the grappling, but who succeeded more on the feet? Candelario. And Candelario can hold his own on the ground, too. It's not like he's completely flipped like a fish out of water. The dude's got 7 submission wins between his pro career and his amateur career. No submission losses. Taira, also between his pro and amateur career, he's got 8 submission wins. No submission losses. So neither of these guys have been subbed. Not just Taira, Candelario either. So if Taira can't get him down, if Taira can't institute that game, if Taira can't grapple him past round 1, if Taira tires down, tires out, Candelario is going to find success on the feet. He's got the better, slicker boxing, straighter combinations, better guard, better defense. Just better work overall on the feet. His strikes are straight. He keeps everything tight. Taira, he's got decent striking, but his output is very low. His strikes swing a little bit, and he's just not as crisp with his combos. I think on the feet it's not even close, fairly, to be honest. But, you know, Taira does have the grappling edge. I get the angle. I just think for the odds, it's a bit of a steal. I think we're getting a bit of a steal. I feel like putting Candelario, I got him at plus 185, and I think the odds are even better now. I think it's something like, yeah, you can get him for plus 205, and it's going up. I think that's absurd. Like, there's a reason the books opened it lower than it was last time, right? So the books opened it at like plus 2 something last time. They opened it at plus 185 this time. That's when I got it, when it opened. So they're opening the line lower for, in my opinion, for a reason. They saw the line movement, and I think they got the hint. I think Candelario wins this if he doesn't get finished in round 1. I do have a 1.5 unit bet on him at plus 185. And if the line keeps going this way, I'm going to add to that. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to win. He's not a lock by any means. He's for sure live to lose. I just think that him losing would require a finish, him getting submitted, and I don't see that happening. I don't see him being submitted here. So, that's the pick, and we'll move on. Alrighty. This one's had people a little bit torn. So, here we've got Virna Jandiroba versus Angela Hill. You got Jandiroba, who's 17-3-0. She's 33 years old, 5'3" with a 64-inch reach. And for her camp, let me see what I got listed. We're going with Academia Fight House. Yeah, what's on her Tapology? I couldn't confirm it on Instagram. And on the other side, you got Angela Hill. Angela Hill is 13-11-0. She's 37 years old. She's 5'3" with a 64.5-inch reach. So these ladies are essentially the same size and almost the same age, with Jandiroba 4 years younger. And Angela Hill is training out of Alliance MMA, the same place where Dominic Cruz trains. And she has been doing some work over at RVCA. I saw a picture with her and, what's her name? Tiny Shark or whatever. I'm blanking on her name. Tabitha Ritchie. I saw her doing work with her over at RVCA, so that's also a good look. decent camp as well. And honestly, this is also a fairly straightforward fight in my opinion, right? So you got Hill, who's tremendously more experienced. She's got 19 fights in the UFC. She's got 4 hours, 8 minutes time in the UFC cage. On the other side, Jandiroba's got 6 fights in the UFC. She's 3-3-0 there, and she's got 1 hour and 3 minutes in the cage. Jandiroba has one clear path of victory that she's used time and time again. She's got 10 sub wins, 1 sub loss. She has a very good submission game. Angela Lee, on the other hand, she's a striker. Angela Lee, oh my goodness, I'm mixing everybody up. Angela Hill. She's a really good striker, especially recently. She's been getting better and better at it, and I really like how she throws her strikes. She keeps them straight. She does throw a loopy right hand, but she follows it. She leads it with the jab. She'll follow it up. I'm looking real quick on her Tapology, counting her sub losses because I forgot to put that in my notes. She's only got 2 sub losses, which is relevant here. Yes, granted, her 2 sub losses are to people who are not on Jandiroba's grappling level, Randa Marcos and Rose Namajunas, but that was a while ago. Both of those are I believe it was like 2013 and something else for Marcos, like 2015, 16, something like that. I would have to recheck, but this is fairly straightforward because Jandiroba doesn't have a backup plan. Her striking is still very, very basic. She's improving it. She's been talking about that. She's been clearly working on it. And her 1-2 is great. If you've watched my show before, a jab and a 1-2, I'm a sucker for that. I love a good jab, I love a good 1-2, and I love a high guard. That said, those are meat and potatoes. You need those in order to set up everything else that you need to do. The issue is Jandiroba doesn't do anything else. There's no real kicks, no real game plan, no real, in terms of striking, no real hooks. Everything's just that 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, leap in 1-2, leap in 1-2. Like, that's really all she's doing, right? So I feel like she's going to take Hill down. I do think she takes Hill down. I do think she has some success on the ground. And I think that a submission is live. I just don't think she gets it. I really don't. I think Angela Hill has been robbed of a winning streak. Let me just go through it real quick. The only loss that she deserves right now is Tecia Torres. Like, she lost that fight fair and square. Amanda Lemos, Angela Hill won, and I had tons of money on Lemos. Waterson, Hill won that fight. Claudia Gadelha, Hill won that fight. She got robbed. It's very likely she gets robbed again. Something about her, the judges don't like it. I'm probably going to sprinkle both of these ladies by sub. By split, not by sub. By split. I did consider a hedge on Jandiroba by sub, but it's not juicy enough to do anything with, considering I am going to bet Angela Hill. Without a doubt, I am going to be betting Angela Hill. She's plus 150. It's only going up, which is like, okay. Like, I'll take it, I'm not going to argue with it. I get where people are coming from. Jandiroba is a really strong woman. And Angela Hill's been taken down by weaker, lesser grapplers. So I get it. She'll probably get taken down. She needs to survive. So the sub is live. But if she doesn't get it round 1, I don't think she's going to get it at all. Excuse me. So I do think Angela Hill picks her apart on the feet overall over 3 rounds. And I think Angela Hill is going to pick up a decision win. I'm not going to mess around with any props here probably. Other than, that sprinkle on the splits when I see what they come out. And if I can bet them even. DraftKings shows them to me. Bet online, oh my gosh. Best Fight Odds shows it to me. I see it on DraftKings, and then I'm in New York, so I can't bet it. So it sucks. But Angela Hill moneyline for a unit will be the play, but not yet. Waiting on the odds. Follow me on Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. If you haven't already, that's where I post all my picks as soon as I make them. Oh gosh. This one. Alright, so here we got Michael Johnson versus Allan Patrick. Michael Johnson is 19, 17, and 0. He's 35 years old. 5'10" with a 73.5-inch reach. Training out of Sanford MMA. And then on the other side, you got Allan Patrick. He's 15, 3, and 0. 38 years old. 5'11", 74-inch reach. And he's training out of X Gym. So Oh no, he's not training out of X Gym. That's what I wanted to bring up. He's actually at Shoot Box right now, and I believe he was there with Oliveira this past week. He posted a ton of pictures. He dyed his hair blonde too, so he has been doing work over at Shoot Box, which is very interesting for this fight. I think that's very interesting, and I'm gonna talk about it. So, Michael Johnson is. Who knows what could have been, you know? He's such a weird tale. Like, the guy's got a knockout win over Dustin Poirier. He's got these big wins. And then he's got some of these ugly losses, right? He's just... I forget who said it first, but I thought it was one of the best ways to put it. He snatches a defeat out of the jaws of victory. Like, he's winning tremendously, and then he loses. He was beating up Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett, who we all think very highly of. Johnson was piecing him up on the feet and then just gets flopped. He was piecing up Thiago Moises and then gets freaking hit with a freaking heel hook. You see, I'm really trying with the curses. It's just like you can't rely on him. So because of that, like off the bat, like I'm just not going to be betting him. I think he's better without a doubt. He's the better fighter here with no questions whatsoever. He's the better fighter. But you can't bet him. You can't bet him. The guy's 35 years old. He's on a 4-fight loss streak, and he hasn't shown any signs of getting any better or stopping these mistakes he's making. I'm not sure what it is, but he just makes all these errors. His fight plans are not there. Game plan against Clay Guida, like, how do you end up getting outstruck by Clay Guida? I understand. I think Johnson did get the more strikes, but like, it was very close on the feet, which it shouldn't have been. Like, at all. And Johnson was succumbing to the pressure, too. Clay Guida was able to take him down and hold him down for, I think, over 8 minutes. So, Michael Johnson did struggle with the grappling of Clay Guida. Almost 7 minutes it was from Guida. On the other side, you got Patrick. He's a BJJ black belt without a single submission on his record. So, there's that. I went into this fight knowing he was a black belt, knowing he grapples, knowing that he volume wrestles. Thinking, alright, I'm going to check out this tape, and I'm probably going to play Patrick by sub. And I'm probably still going to play Patrick by sub. Either that or decision. I'm still deciding. But, I think what I might do is decision and then sub round 3 for Patrick. But, what I'm thinking is, I can't trust Johnson. And while I don't think Patrick is anything either... Like, he's only got 2 losses in the UFC, and I was looking at it before. Who is it? Pull it up real quick. Like, neither loss is that bad. Like, you had the Mason Jones fight, which should have been a loss, and Mason Jones is very good, so I'm not going to, like, crucifix him over that. And then he lost to Bobby Green. Alright. He lost to Scott Holtzman. Not the best loss, but I think Holtzman is still pretty good. And he lost to Marbek Taisumov. Also a good fighter. Only 2 losses in the UFC himself. So, like, it's not like Patrick is, like, completely undeserving to be in the UFC or anything like that. And I think he's going to find success with the wrestling. I think he can take Johnson down. Johnson's got a 77% takedown defense. Yes, Johnson's got a 77% takedown defense. But I think Patrick will still find success, and I think he'll be able to hold him down once he does get him down. Does he submit him? I think it's possible. But we're going to have to see if I end up getting there. It would literally be Patrick's first sub win ever. His sub prop sitting at plus 500. Patrick by decision is plus 250. Look, the best bet here is no bet. Like, the best bet here is definitely no bet. There's no reason to really bet this unless you're a degen like me. And I'm gonna have a play here. It's gonna be on the Patrick side. Which angle exactly I'm gonna play, I don't know yet. But it's definitely gonna be on the Patrick side. I think Johnson's without a doubt the better fighter, but for that reason he's probably gonna lose. It's just what he does. So, like, really, what can you do? Like, if it was a joke, it would be one thing, but he just keeps doing it. So, I'm done trying to back him. As good as I think he is. Alright. So this is the next fight. What's the ones after? Alright. I just want to pull up my notes real quick for everything. We got some fun ones coming up. I am honestly so hyped for this summer now. We got so many dope fights coming up. So many good events. Gonna make up for all these terrible, terrible cards we've had. The worst women's fight of all time. I'm gonna say right now, if they don't make Andrade Rose 3 for their next fight, respectively, I think they're dropping the ball. You got such a clear lineup right now. You got Esparza having her wedding, doing her thing. Have Joanna and Wei Li fighting soon. Winner of that gets the title shot. And then line up Rose against Andrade and see who wins for the next one. How more playing, like, it's so clear. Andrade is so good. She's cleaned up everybody else. And Rose just lost, like, look, I hate her now. That was a disgusting loss, but, like, it doesn't say anything from Rose other than she's a little bit delusional in her fight IQ. And her coach, I'm sorry, but that I blame Pat Barry for like 80% of that. And I also blame Trevor Whitman for not standing up. Like, he's such a long-time coach. He's a professional. He should have been able to say something. I don't know what the relationships are there. You know, I don't know the inner workings of that camp, but it's a mess. Like, that stuff needs to be cleaned up. Anyways, sidebar over. Here we got... I need a drink. Alright. My dog's looking at me. Spliff. Alright. We got Viviane Araujo versus Andrea Lee. We got Araujo, who is 10-3-0. She's 35 years old, 5'4" with a 68-inch reach, and she does still train at Serrato MMA. On the other side, you got Andrea Lee, 13-5-0. Andrea Lee is 33 years old, 5'6" with a 69.5-inch reach. And she does still train at Synergy MMA, but also does work at MMA Gold Fight Team. Alright, so this was an interesting one, but also not one that was entirely too hard for me to bet. So I'll pull up their records right now. We can go over them. I just feel like one of these women is slightly above the other in terms of levels. But, alright, so... Excuse me. So you have Araujo. Her most recent fight was against Chookagian. Some felt that Chookagian lost that fight, that Araujo won. I get it. I had Chookagian, so I'm biased, so I'm not really going to comment. But, you know, it was a decent performance, but she slows down. She slows down big time. And the difference from round 1 to round 2 and 3, like, it's very stark, which is a problem. And it's not something that I can get my money behind ever until somebody fixes that issue. Like, there's nothing I hate more than having my money on someone and they're doing well and then they just gas and start losing. Like, that stuff, it takes me off. Is that a Russian sickle on Andrea Lee's? What's the story behind the KG? I gotta look that up. The whole KGB. That's weird. Alright, but... So, you got Lee. She's slightly more experienced in the UFC. 2 hours and 5 minutes in the cage. Araujo's 1 hour and 25 minutes. Lee's got 8 fights. Araujo 6. While they both have faced pretty good competition, you look at Araujo, her second fight in the UFC is Alexis Davis. Then she gets Jessica Ai. Then she gets De La Rosa. You know, close fight, which isn't the best look. Then she gets Roxanne Modafferi and beats her. Roxanne was the prospect party killer for a while, and Araujo got past that. And then Chookagian, we just spoke about that. Andrea Lee on the other side, you have her first few fights, nothing really. Montana De La Rosa is number 3, but she beat her up. Then she fights Joanne Wood, loses that one by split. Lauren Murphy after that fight. Andrea Lee won that fight. Everybody knows it. That's the fight where, I think everyone's heard the story, that's the fight where Joe Rogan was yelling about the judge looking at his phone. That's exactly what happened. And that's why Andrea Lee lost that fight, because a judge was looking at their phone in the middle of a fight, which should have literally, like, been the basis for a tremendous lawsuit for Lee. But I don't, honestly, she should have tried, but maybe there's laws and whatever, contracts, I don't know. But she won that fight, and it sucks because Lauren Murphy got a title shot soon after that off another split on Joanne Calderwood. So, yeah, that was whack. But honestly, I feel like Andrea Lee's probably not far from her own shot if she keeps it up. Then she lost to Roxanne, close fight. Then she beat Antonina Shevchenko, subbed her with a triangle armbar, and then more recently, this past year in November, she finished Cynthia Calvillo in round 2. I think I actually bet the KO prop there, so that was a nice hit. I do believe I got some juicy odds there. I just think that Lee's got more weapons. 6 sub wins, 1 sub loss herself, so I don't see her being a fish out of water here in terms of grappling. I know Araujo does have good wrestling. She's got good takedowns and very good top control. But I feel like Lee's going to be able to get up for the most part. 8% control time, 4-8 against. Like, it could be better for Lee, but I do believe that she should be fine in the grappling department. And on the feet, Araujo's got decent striking, solid output. Her combinations are good, but she's winging her shots, and, like, she's like, good. She's, like, good the first round, and then she's just good after that. She the cardio really affects her, which is really an issue. And she's 35 years old. Like, that's also not the best thing to have going for you here. And then Lee, like, on the feet, I think she's much better. Really slick striking. Good straight strikes. Good 1-2. Uses her jab very well. Mixes up the targets. Good output. I just think she's way better. I think she's better. I just think she's better everywhere. I think that she probably wins a decision. I did bet a late finish for her for round 3. I got like plus 2,000. If you watch my shows, if you watch this show, if you watch the Bet Elevator on Friday on the MMA Engine with Lou Betcha, you know I like my big chunky props for a little sprinkle. I like to think I'm decent at spotting those spots, so excuse me. So, yeah, Andrea Lee's the pick here. I think that the breakdown really just boils down to who's the better all-around fighter here, and I think that's Andrea Lee. I don't think that Araujo has any clear path here. Her best path is probably the takedowns. Lee's only got, like a 58% takedown defense? I'm going off memory here, so I could be a little off. But I think she should be able to hold up. I think she's faced the better competition. I don't think that Araujo is really going to bring anything Lee hasn't faced yet. So I do think that Lee picks up the W here. But I think it'll be a close fight, and I don't blame anyone on the Araujo side. I'm going to check the odds real quick. I actually forget what I got Lee at. I got her at minus 115 for 2 units. And now you can get her for minus 110 if you're on Bet Online. Minus 115, minus 120 elsewhere. I mean, obviously 110 I like because that's better odds than I got, but even 115, I don't hate minus 120. I wouldn't go much further. I think she's the rightful favorite. And I think she opened up as a dog, too. No. She opened up as the favorite, went up all the way to around minus 110 and whatnot, and then she's here, yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that's the pick there. This one was the one I was most hype about breaking down when I was first checking the card out and doing my work. So, this one's really dope. Here we got Jake Hadley. He's 8-0, 25 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. And let me just... Yeah, I don't have a confirmation on the camp, so I'm going to go with Team Renegade BJJ. And on the other side, you got Allan Nascimento. He's 18, 6-0. He's 30 years old, 5'9" with a 69.5-inch reach. And he does train out of Shootbox. So he's pulling up here with Alan Petrie coming off that win of Charles Oliveira. So we'll see how that goes for these guys. But he does have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. He does have 2 inches of a height advantage. And I think I'm on an island here, but I'll start with, I think Hadley's a beast. And I'm going to be backing him all the time. I backed him on his Contender Series bout with the utmost confidence. I came into this wanting to back him. I want to back him in the future. I just need to understand what happened in the Contender Series, because I don't love that kind of drama. And it's kind of like uncommon too. Like, to the point where Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard leave the building after Dana gives this kid a contract. And it wasn't just because he missed weight, because Dana's given contracts to guys who missed weights before. Apparently this kid's team was like a pain to deal with, and they were just causing a ruckus. So I don't know what the issue is there, but that's already an issue for me, a red flag. He's 25 years old, which is great. That's not a bad thing ever, but he's making his debut. He's young. We've already seen that there's some issues in the back scenes. His head might be elsewhere, and he's fighting somebody who I think he's a problem. Allan Nascimento is a problem for anybody, and he showed that against Tagir on Bekov. I know we're just taking Tagir and calling him the worst now. I think we're so fickle. We're the most fickle people on the planet, us MMA fans. It blows my mind. But like, we're talking about Tagir as being very good at 1 second, and now it's like he's the worst Dagestani. It's like all of a sudden we forgot about Khadis Ibragimov or Gadzi Murad Antigulov, the actual bad Dagestanis. So Nascimento's had that fight with Tagir, and he had the fight with Aurelian Paiva on the Contender Series. On the Contender Series, he was more green, and you can see the difference a little bit even on the feet. But he did show a few good things even that early. He showed a good output. He showed good combos. He showed good work on the feet in general, good jab. A little bit sloppy with the hooks. He was very hittable. Especially Paiva, though, he's good, right? He's good. He's better than I ever gave him credit for. I thought that he was worse than he ended up being. But, yeah, Paiva's a good fighter. You have to admit it at this point. And he did beat Nascimento fair and square, but it was a close fight, and it was a split decision win for Paiva. And then the Tagir and Bekov fight, Nascimento was on his back the whole fight, and one of the judges still gave it to him. And I get why. Like, I do think Tagir won. I had money on Tagir, but Nascimento made that a difficult fight. That was not easy. Tagir had to work for every second that he was on the ground. If Hadley wants to hold this guy on the ground, he's going to have to fight for it. He's going to have to really try to hold him down and not get submitted. Hadley has incredible submissions himself. His BJJ game is top. He's got 11 submission wins, 2 gogoplatas as an amateur, which is hilarious. But only rear naked chokes as a pro. Nascimento, on the other hand, 9 sub wins, also never been submitted. His sub attempt output is so high. He just kept throwing up subs against Tagir. And I just think that in terms of the BJJ, I think he's got the bigger arsenal. And the fact that he's training out of shoot box, like, I'd be really shocked if Hadley has the better BJJ. And I understand that Hadley's really good. He's got really good BJJ. But we saw he's not, like, invincible in the grappling. He was getting taken down by Mitch in his Contender Series fight. He was literally getting taken down. So I don't think he's some invincible grappler. I don't necessarily think that Nascimento takes him down, but I think Nascimento's going to make him not really want to be on the ground. And on the feet, I think it's close. Hadley, he's got a good guard. He has good striking. His striking defense in his one fight on the Contender Series is like 74%. We'll see if that holds up. He's got a nice high guard, but he does this really weird thing where he'll tilt up the elbow to block his face better, but it leaves his body right open. So Nascimento's a big kicker. I wouldn't be shocked if he targets that body and starts going after it. He'd be smart to do so. But yeah, I'm going with the thought that I think Nascimento's going to bring it to this guy. I think that Hadley's going to get overwhelmed. I think it's his UFC debut. There's a ton of pressure on him. He's coming in as a hot prospect. There's all this stuff with the UFC coming in. He's got all this pressure on him. He's a good fighter, but in my opinion, he's still a little bit green. We haven't seen him really fight anybody that great yet. And I think Raposa's going to be a difficult test. And I got him at like plus 175. I think you can get even better now. Yeah, I got plus 175. I played it for 1 unit. But you can get him for plus 185 now, and it looks like it's going up, so maybe even wait a second. But yeah, I think Nascimento has a great shot to win. I think it's probably by decision. It's hard to see it, like how it exactly goes down. But look, Hadley's live for a decision win for sure. Can he land prey? Maybe. But I think people are really underestimating how good Tagir's defensive grappling was against Nascimento and what Nascimento was throwing up. So, look, we'll see. But I do think Nascimento's gonna win this fight, and at plus 175, I really like those odds. So, so after this, we got Chookagian, Smolka. Pull up the notes real quick. You guys are gonna hate me when I get to the Spann Cutelaba pick. I'm so mad I had to do this stream so late. We don't have a single live viewer today, but that's alright. People will tune in and check us out later. Alright. So, for this next one, we've got Frank Camacho versus Manuel Torres. Camacho's 22-9-0. 32 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, and he does train out of Team Oyama. On the other side, you got Manuel Torres, 12-2-0. 27 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch and a half-inch reach, and he's training out of Entram Gym over with Brandon Moreno and the likes. So this is going to be a relatively short breakdown because I'm not going to be betting I'm not going to be putting a lot of money on a fight where there's like very little information on Torres. Not because there's like no information about him, because he's got very little tape time because he's finishing guys super quick. And I think he's been to the decision once, and there's no available tape as far as I can tell there. Torres does have really intense striking. I like his work with his kicks. Good straight strikes, good 1-2s, good combos, decent jab, very violent, good knees, elbows. Decent sub game. Yeah, so he had 4 sub wins and 1 sub loss, so it is something that he can do, and I am going to be curious of how that's going to come into play here with Camacho. Camacho's an interesting story because I honestly think that he's better than his record shows. He also has faced some ridiculous competition that doesn't make any sense, so I'll pull up his record real quick. He was fighting at welterweight for a bit, which doesn't make sense either because he's not a very big guy. But yeah, so he debuted against Li Jingliang, the Leech. And then he beat Damian Brown, lost to Drew Dober, lost to Jeff Neal, beat Nick Hine, which is like whatever, and then lost to Dariush, and then got KO'd by Justin James, which I think is a bad look, and I think that's partially why the line was where it was at with Torres being a favorite over the vet Camacho here. And that's because Justin James sucks. He's so bad, and he knocked Camacho out. Like, I have the utmost respect for anybody in the cage, but like Justin James is so bad. He was like really, really bad. And the fact that he almost finished Charles Rosa, like that's a whole nother story. But he is so bad, and he finished Camacho like but it was like a flash KO, right? It was 1, 2, 3 quick, and if you run that back 10 times, I don't think that happens more than once out of 10 times. I really don't. I think that Camacho was like minus 300. I think that was right. I do think he's still the better fighter. Watching back his tape, like, the guy shows a lot of things to like, this Camacho. He's got good grappling, 72% takedown defense himself, 2 sub wins, 2 sub losses. His wrestling is pretty good. Does decent work with it. Not exactly the highest numbers in terms of wrestling output, but he's attempting 1.17 takedowns per 15 minutes, so that's pretty good. He's got a pretty good jab, a good body kick. I like that he'll triple up on the jab. I love that stuff. Solid output. Good combos are like a bit bare bones, but they're more tight than Torres is throwing, which is good and important. He does good work in the pocket too. And he's a BJJ brown belt, so that's going to be in play too. I do think that Entram trains the grappling really well. We see that. We have seen that with Brandon Moreno, even before his run, with his draw with Oscar Oskarov. Like, his grappling has been there. And I think we've seen that with a lot of the Entram guys. Another guy from the Contender Series training out of Entram Gym, Michael Morales, also has shown incredibly good grappling for a guy who's super young, super green, and new to the UFC. And he's shown really good work there. So, I lean Torres, but am I going to be able to get behind him at minus, what is it? Minus 120. Like, I can't get behind him as a favorite, really. It's difficult to do. What I am interested in is I'm interested in Torres decision no action. I'm going to see if that's out yet. It is out. Not on any book I can bet yet, but it is out, and Torres is minus 145. I like that better. It's a little steeper than the money line, but I like it better because I don't really see Torres winning a decision here. I don't. I think that if Torres wins, it's going to be inside the distance, and I'd rather get my money back if it does go to decision. So I will probably play Torres because I do think he's got the better arsenal. He's younger, fresher. He's fought more recently. He's got the more power. He's longer, bigger. I think in general his striking's a little bit better, a little straighter. I really like how he mixes it up. I like the elbows, the knees. It's a tough one. I really wanted to get behind Camacho, and I think he has every tool he needs to win the fight. I'm worried about the chin. I'm worried about the fight IQ, but mostly the chin. I'm just worried he's going to get sparked here by Torres. So it's hard for me to get behind Camacho. I do think anybody who plays him is making a good, intelligent dog bet. I definitely see the angle here, and I think he's got plenty of chances to win. I'd rather play Torres, decision, no action, cheer for the KO. And I don't think Camacho finishes him, so if Camacho does win, I think it's going to be a decision. So I'm going to play Torres, decision, no action myself, personally. Alright. Honestly, I'm on the side as everybody else here, and I think we might be overlooking it a little bit. But alright, so this is one of the first fights I taped, and because of that, it's the least fresh in my mind right now. I usually rewatch right before the show. I got to do everything except this one, so it's the least fresh, but I'll do my best. Just crack another one of these open. Alright. So here we got Katyln Chookagian, 17-4-0. She's training. Hold on. 33 years old, 5'9", 68-inch reach, and she is training out of. I don't have it. So we're gonna go with all-star Brazilian BJJ. And on the other side we got Amanda Ribas, 11-2-0, 28 years old, 5'3" with a 66-inch reach. I'm gonna look up both of their gyms real quick because I'm not going with those. I don't trust that. That doesn't seem right for either one. I do know that I'm pretty sure Ribas' father is her coach, one of them at least, so that does make some sense that it's her family gym. I just don't think that's her main camp, so I'm going to double check for you guys. I'm not going to just sit here spreading fake news. Alright, Ribas. Here she is, and okay, she is training at her family camp. That's correct. And then Chookagian, believe it's Renegade. Sarah BJJ. Oh, she's over here in Long Island? I didn't know that. Alright. So, yo. I always think about Katyln. I don't know if everybody saw that, but Katyln Chookagian's whole fiasco with her liked videos. I'm not going to go more into detail, but that stuff was so funny for anybody who remembers. Anyway, so yeah, this is a really interesting fight. Ribas, look, it's clear that it's grappler versus striker. Chookagian's striker, Ribas is a grappler, but Ribas is making some big improvements. We saw her out in her last fight against Jandiroba, and I had money on Jandiroba. I thought that she'd be just as good on the feet and the better grappler, and neither of those things really proved to be true. On the feet, Ribas is looking better and better. Her strikes are straight. Her output's good. Her 1-2 is good. Her arsenal's a little lacking, but she does good work on the feet. Katyln Chookagian, though, I just think her striking is better. Her output is higher. Her striking is straighter. Good 1-2s also. Good combinations. Mixes it up a little bit better. She's 5'9" to Ribas' 5'3", so that's quite a size difference. And she's got a 2-inch reach advantage. And with the styles, I do think that will make a difference. Chookagian doesn't have the world's best takedown defense, so we saw that in her last fight with Araujo, as I spoke about earlier. So Ribas will probably capitalize on that. I just don't think she's going to submit Chookagian. Can she win a decision? Hell yeah, she could. I don't think this is like a runaway fight for Chookagian by any sense of the imagination. I think the line's getting a bit out of hand now. I got it at minus 150 myself, but I'm seeing it now at like minus 175 Chookagian, minus 180. I think that's very steep. I think that Chookagian's the better fighter. She probably wins by decision. But if you really think about it, Ribas has more paths. Ribas can hang on the feet, so she can win a decision. She can grapple to mix it in and get that decision. Or she's live for a sub kind of always because of how high level her BJJ is. So, yeah, I'm on the Chookagian side. I got 2 units at minus 150, but honestly, it's probably one of my less confident picks now as time has gone on. It was one of my most confident ones, and now it's probably becoming one of my less confident ones. But I am still on the Chookagian side. Alright, this is my most confident pick of the night for sure. And I think it is for everybody, which this doesn't always end up the best, but. So, for this one, you got Smolka versus Davey Grant. Smolka 17-8-0. He is 30 years old, 5'9" with a 68.5-inch reach, and he does train out of Team Oyama. On the other side, you got Davey Grant. Davey Grant is 11-6-0. He's 36 years old, 5'8", 69-inch reach. And get this, he's training at a Syndicate MMA. Who else trains at Syndicate MMA? Vince Morales. Who's Vince Morales? The last guy to fight and KO Smolka. That was Smolka's last fight. It wasn't all that long ago. And I don't always think that's the biggest deal, but... And I still don't think it's going to make much of a difference here, but it's something to look at, right? They got a taste for Smolka. They've already prepared for him once. Now they just got to do it again. And I don't think it's hard because I think Davey Grant's better everywhere. This isn't going to be a long breakdown. I think it really just comes down to Davey just being better everywhere. He's the better striker. I think he's the better grappler too. I think that can be a little debated, and maybe Smolka proves me wrong this weekend, but I don't think he does. And if he can't hold Davey down, I think he's... We're working on the curses. I think he's effed. I think he's going to be in trouble. Yeah, like, there's really not much else to say. Smolka's his striking defense isn't great. He keeps his hands high, but it doesn't really do much. His striking is a little loopy. It's not straight enough. So is Davey Grant, by the way. It's not like Davey Grant's out here throwing 1-2s down the pipe. Like, he also is throwing step-in hooks, all this sloppy stuff. Funky kicks, mixes it up with those. He's been using those more and more. You really saw him go at it with Adrian Yanez with those kicks. And that was a close fight, right? Yanez was a huge favorite, and that was a close fight. I just, look, I love dogs. I love betting the dogs. I'm going to be betting one this next fight, and you guys are all going to hate me for it. But I need a path. I need a path for the dog, and I don't see one here at all. I don't see how Smolka wins this fight. I just don't. So, Davey Grant's the pick. I'm going to be playing... I already did play Davey Grant by KO. I haven't parlayed. I'll go over it after this, after the show, as I always do. But yeah, my pick is Davey Grant here. By KO, probably. Decision as well. He's just better everywhere, man. Like, there's really not much else to say there. I hate myself for this one. So, we got Ryan Spann versus Allan Cutelaba. Ryan Spann is 19-7-0. He's 30 years old, 6'5", 81.5-inch reach, training out of Fortis MMA. And on the other side, you got Cutelaba, 16-6-1, 28 years old, 6'1", 75-inch reach, and he trains out of Extreme Couture right now. Excuse me. Which is a good camp for a guy like him, honestly. You got other big guys like Roman Delice over there. It's a good place to train for someone like him, especially. They got a bunch of bigger guys. Francis spent time there. So, the elephant in the room is the cardio of Cutelaba, right? That cardio has always been suspect, and we saw it as recent as the Jacoby fight. Even in his last fight with Devin Clark, he slowed down. He did still look good in the third round. He was still getting takedowns over Devin Clark, so, you know, you got to give him credit there, but he does still slow down. I think that he's the better grappler here. I think that he does get Ryan Spann down, but Ryan Spann is bigger than anybody else Cutelaba has fought, and definitely bigger than anybody else he's had success over. Ryan Spann can also grapple. Maybe it's not as good as Cutelaba. Not maybe, it's for sure not as good, but he can also get takedowns. He's not a fish out of water grappling. On the feet, Cutelaba's not some fancy slick boxer with tight boxing. Like, he's not. He gets sloppy. He throws looping things. And Ryan Spann has, what is that, over a 6-inch reach advantage? Over 4 inches of height advantage. Like, the jab will be there all day long. The straight strikes will be there all day long. Jacoby was jabbing Cutelaba's head off. Ryan Spann's longer, taller, stronger, and his strikes are just as straight. My issues with Ryan Spann are the fight IQ is lower than a turtle's. Literally, a turtle could have a better game plan for a fight than Ryan Spann would. His striking, while it's good and straight, it's almost as if he's in slow motion. And he leaves himself incredibly hittable by just overreaching and leaving himself open. And that's that bad fight IQ once again. So, while I do see all those faults, and I see how Cutelaba can win this, maybe by KO, I think that if it gets extended, this is going to be a very difficult fight for Cutelaba. If he can't get the fight down, right, he's not comfortable on the feet. At least that's what he's shown us recently. Like, he could have beaten Devin Clark on the feet, but yet he chose to grapple. So that suggests to me that he's feeling himself more on the ground lately. That's where he prefers to be. If he can't do it, but he keeps trying anyways, which is what he's been doing, he's going to get tired. He's already shown that he'll get tired. And sure, maybe he's working on it, but Ryan Spann's a big guy. He's a really big guy. So, I don't know. At plus 185, like, I literally, I was watching the tape and I had a parlay set with Cutelaba as a second leg. And then I was like, I can't do this. So I exited out and I put a unit on Ryan Spann and it said, I get anybody who's on the Cutelaba side. I totally get it. But I'm going to be fading that cardio. I'm going to fade the size disadvantage. I'm going to fade the sloppy striking, and I'm going to fade the wrestling. Maybe I get murked, but it's only a unit, so not too worried there. I am going to be playing 2 small props on Spann. I'm going to play him by sub. I'm still waiting on an official line. So BetOnline released that line at plus 1,200, and I think they messed up immediately because Ryan Spann has 12 submissions and several in the UFC, and Cutelaba has 2 sub losses. Given one of them is Glover Teixeira and the other one is, I don't remember off the top of my head, but let me see real quick if it's back up, because I do want to bet Spann by sub. Look, you're telling me the guy's got 12 submissions and wins on his record, and you're going to give it to me 12-1? It's a joke. Let's see. I would just look at best fight odds like I normally do, but they still have that line of 1,200, but I know that earlier it was off of BetOnline. So I'm going to look real quick right now. I'm on here. Ryan Spann. Yeah, so the line's still not up. They took it down because I guess they realized it was off. I know that DraftKings has it as well, but it's plus 750 there, and I don't like that as much. I thought the plus 1,000 is what made it really juicy, so we'll have to see about that. But I also hit Ryan Spann by round 3. I hit that for plus 2,000, I want to say. Yeah, plus 2,000 on BetOnline. And the reasoning's simple. It's just a 0.1 unit to win 2 units. Much bigger, big power. Cutelaba slows down, and that's my reasoning for the round 3. So I think it's a close fight. I think that Cutelaba has the tools to win this, but I think he also has the tools to cost it for himself. And I think for plus 185 with the huge size difference, similar tools, I'm going to go with Ryan Spann. And the main event of the evening. So, cheers, we made it here. And it's only been just under an hour, so we're going to get out of here in probably the next 5-10 minutes. So, good stuff. We're starting to cut through the BS and get a little bit faster at this. Hopefully, so for those who don't know, I'm in law school. I just finished my 2nd year. That's been taking up a lot of my time this year, since January, whatever. It's been incredibly difficult for me. I'm on break now. I do have a job, so I have that, but I'm going to have a lot more time because I was also working during the school year too. So I was balancing all those 3 things. Now it's just 2 things. I'm hype. I have a lot more time. I'm going to be breaking down more promotions, hopefully putting videos out for regional scenes again. I was doing that before. I love betting those. I feel like I'm pretty good, so I'm hoping to get that back out there. It's going to be a lot of content coming out from me. I'll be doing the streams earlier again, back to the 8 o'clock start time on Tuesdays. Today was just a super busy day for me, so what can you do? That's why I don't have a strict time just yet. Got to find one where I can always meet it every week. But alright, so enough jibber jabber. Cheers, let's break down the main event. Here we've got Jan Blachowicz versus Aleksandar Rakic. Blachowicz is 20... My eyesight is failing me. 28, 9-0. 35 years old. 6'2", 35. I said 39 years old. 6'2", 78-inch reach. And do I have a different camp for him? No, I don't. So we're going to go with that camp, WCA Fight Team. I don't think Rakic is at... I'm going to check Rakic because him, I think he's at a different... I'll check both of them while I'm at it. Rakic on the other side, though, is 14-2-0, 30 years old. 6'4", so he's got 2 inch of a height advantage, 78-inch reach as well. And for his gym, American Top Team Zagreb is where Rakic is at. And Blachowicz seems to be at the UFC PI recently. Picture of Valentina. Guess she's training over here in Vegas too. Yeah, not getting much information other than UFC PI from Jan. So we're going to go with that for now. I think he kind of does his own thing when it comes to training. But so this is a very interesting matchup, right? If you spoke to me about 2 years ago about this fight, I'd probably say Rakic. I've been a Rakic truther from day one. I think he's very talented. I think he's got every tool to be a champion one day. I think at least a contender. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to throw Blachowicz out of the picture yet. Like, he beats Israel Adesanya, and we're all like, wow, he's a true light heavyweight champion. Then he loses to Glover on a clearly off day, and we're just like, Blachowicz was never my boy. like I said before, we're so fickle as MMA fans. But look, first of all, this is probably going to be a staring match. Even though these two are huge and powerful and great strikers, and it should be exciting and a war, it probably won't be. If it is, I favor Blachowicz easily. In a war, in a dogfight, in a sloppy fight, favor Blachowicz. Bigger power, tighter boxing in the pocket. A little slower hands for sure, but he's still got good combos, good work on the hands. Like, he wasn't a fish out of water against Israel Adesanya. Like, he wasn't. His wrestling is pretty good when he needs it. He doesn't really use it much. I keep seeing people talking about Rakic grappling here. What gives you... How? Where do you get that from, right? Even his 90% takedown defense, I checked it out. Other than his Barroso fight, the first one, he's only had 6 takedowns attempted on him. Only 6, all right? So, you got to put an asterisk there. Do I think Blachowicz is going to come out here and try to grapple a lot? No, but it's something he's done. It's something he can do. Blachowicz has 9 submission wins, 2 sub losses at BJJ brown belt. So is Rakic, but he's got 0 sub wins. He's got 0 sub losses. Rakic does have a really good jab. He's got bad output, bad urgency, but he's got really nice kicks. He mixes targets up really well with them. And he keeps his stuff straight, and he's got a good one too. So there's a lot to like there. It's just the output and the no sense of urgency. Those are the issues here for me. Blachowicz, also, his output could be better. His power is tremendous. You can't hate on the power. He's got crazy body kicks. Ruined Dominic Reyes' body. He's got good work overall. Keeps everything nice and crisp, tight. His defense is alright. It's only improved, though. I don't think it's getting any worse. And I really, truly believe that the Glover fight was a bad day. I'm not saying Glover can't beat him again. Maybe he can. I see the path. He did it once, right? But I think Blachowicz is better than he showed, and he's shown that already, right? He's already shown that against guys like Reyes, guys like Adesanya. I understand Reyes is also somebody we've thrown in the garbage lately, but Reyes gave Jiri a tough fight, all right? That's a whole other story, but let's not just pretend he's bad, too. Dude arguably beat John Jones. In my opinion, he did beat John Jones. So, Blachowicz needs more respect, in my opinion, and the odds, like, you're really gonna tell me Rakic should be like, what is it, minus 160, minus 170? Why? Minus 199, minus 191 for Rakic? Like, I don't think that's right. I think that's off. Blachowicz was literally champion one fight ago. What did he do to deserve to be this against Rakic? Like, Rakic doesn't have that sub game that Glover has. He just doesn't have it. And then before that fight, what would this fight have been lined? Like, Blachowicz probably would have been the favorite. So, in a fight that I think is going to be close, boring, staring match, I'm going to lean with Blachowicz. I'm going to lean with the former champ. I'm going to lean with the dog. I'm going to lean with the guy with more urgency and more power. So while I think Rakic probably has more technique in terms of striking, I think Rakic has every tool he needs to beat Blachowicz. I think he just fails to put those tools together and use them to win fights. So I am going to be going with Jan Blachowicz. I also think that he can beat on Rakic's legs, just like Oezdemir did. That was a big thing, so I do think he can do that. I do respect the fact that Rakic is extremely talented, 2-inch reach height advantage. He's 9 years younger, so I totally get it. If it was a pick 'em, I'd probably be on his side, but you're going to give me the ex-champ for plus 166, one fight removed. I'm going to be on the Jan Blachowicz side. So that's that. We've broken down the whole card. Clap for ourselves. Nice. And real quick, I'll run through my bets so far for this week, and then we're going to get out of here. All right? So, Ryan Spann, plus 181 unit. Katyln Chookagian, minus 150, 2 units. Allan Nascimento, plus 175, 1 unit. Andrea Lee, minus 115, 2 units. Carlos Candelario, plus 185, 1.5 units. Then I've got a Grant Maximov parlay, minus 131 odds total. This was, I think, a few days ago, so the odds are going to be a little different and worse now. I did play that for 1.31 units to win 1. I have Grant by KO at plus 135 for a half unit. I've got Candelario by KO in round 3, 0.1 unit sprinkle at plus 2,500. I've got Lee in round 3 at plus 1,800, 0.1 units. And Ryan Spann round 3, plus 2,000, 0.1 units. I actually have to add that to my Bet MMA. So, yeah, and that's that. And, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll have the fantasy show streaming tomorrow at a much more normal time. Should be 8 o'clock, maybe even a little earlier. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all.